Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So a few of you guys have asked me to do a lumber update video, and I wanted to do a lumber update video over the weekend just because I had a feeling that the prices were going to be increasing. And sure enough, that's what's going on right now. The only thing I don't know is why. Because over the summer, when prices ran up to $900 per thousand, and just for those of you who don't know, I work at a lumber yard. I have my fingers on the pulse of the industry. I've been working lumber yards my whole life. I follow the futures market and I follow retail prices, and I kind of see how these things correlate to the economy. And recently, we have seen a pretty decent size price drop and return to these really record high levels. Now, back to over the summer, we saw lumber prices go up to $900 per thousand. This was by far the highest that I had ever seen it. Good, twice as high as I had ever seen. Now, there was a previous high of around $650 per thousand, didn't last very long, and it dropped all the way down to around the 200s per thousand before this epic rise to 900. The volatility inside the lumber market has just been extreme over the last couple of years. And just recently, we have seen, coming off those 900 per thousand highs, a drop all the way down to around the 500 per thousand level. And what this means on the retail end is over there at the 900 per thousand, we were selling 2x4 8 standard and better lumber for $8.69. When it hit the low of 500 per thousand, our retail prices dropped down to around $4.96. Since then, the prices have gone up to around 700 per thousand. At least they're around 713 per thousand when I started this video. So now, over the summer, I knew what was happening. Mills were curtailing development because of the March lockdowns and everything that was taking place from the pandemic. They thought for sure that nobody will be buying lumber, but exactly the opposite happened. Everybody was locked down at home and thought, man, it would be nice to have decks or fences or a new office, and they started buying up a lot of lumber, and it zapped the inventory levels from the mills that were already curtailing development. So everybody depleted their inventory levels, and to try and fill that inventory, the demand was just off the charts during a time when they had a depletion of inventory. So you know what happens, supply and demand, right? So the demand goes up, supply levels were low, prices went through the roof, and that's exactly what happened. And that all took place over the course of the summer. Since then, things have chilled out quite a bit, and the prices of the futures started coming down, and they went all the way down to 500. Now, a couple of months ago, we were talking, and I was asking the guys here, I said, when are we going to see the bottom in pricing in the lumber prices? And everybody said the end of November, and I couldn't figure out why. I was like, why is that? And they're like, I don't know, and that you asked for a date, that's what it is. And everybody kind of said it. They all had this consensus view of it. I'm like, well, whatever. So the end of November. That's what happened. At the end of November, the prices had finally hit that $5 per thousand in the retail end of things. They have bounced. It was right before the end of November they hit the 500 per thousand, but since then they are now up around 700 per thousand, and that is extremely high, and we are going to see lumbers going back up to those record levels again. And this is very surprising to me because it's not like we're in a demand season. Like, this is where things slow down because it's going into wintertime. There's less construction that takes place there. Now, obviously, there's some places in the country where it never slows down. It just continues on. But up here in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm sure a lot of places where winter sets in and it's pretty hard, you really just don't have an opportunity to build as much. There is plenty of building that takes place throughout the Pacific Northwest during the rainy season. There's tons of framing that happens. But the bulk of it takes place during the summertime and less takes place during the winter. That's all I say, because framing happens 24/7 around here. So anyhow, but it doesn't give any reason to why the prices are going up so high. And now I know a lot of people are going to say inflation, right? And yeah, okay, I get it. So like, even if you had like 10% or 20% inflation, it still doesn't account for the 200% inflation or price increases we've seen in lumber since the bottoming, less than a year and a half ago. I don't think it's inflation. It could be. I don't think so. It's something else. There's something else going on. Now, I don't know exactly what it is, and I thought, well, you only look at America, the United States, Canada, what's going on here. There is a global demand for lumber, and it is a global commodity, so you better look around the globe to see what's going on. Now, I didn't have a lot of chance to review these articles or do any research into them, but I came across something that was very interesting, and I thought I would share it with you guys and hopefully get your input on what's going on here, and maybe some more insight and research if you guys happen to know or can do some, to kind of help me out with this one. But this is what I found. Over in this port of Riga, if I remember right, and I'll leave links down in the description for you guys for these news articles. And it was from, what was this? The website was containernews.com. So anyhow, this port of Riga, they were talking about how the forest products, the lumber industry, ended up becoming a significant part of their business over the last year or so. And to the tune of like 25% of it. So they were going on talking about this port, and they said that the port has facilities on it, like businesses on it, that make panels, they treat lumber, they cut lumber. And I thought, wow, so logs show up to this port, where they probably ship logs too. I mean, it's a shipping company, it's a port, But then they also mill, produce panels, treat it, and they have everything like right there to be shipped out, to be exported away from the country. And I thought, man, how efficient is that? I mean, everything's right there. You just haul the logs to that location, and then everything is dealt with right there on one spot. So I thought, man, that is pretty interesting. But then they had a link later on in the article talking about the experts' opinions of these exports. And I thought, well, let's read that. And I think the link was for the word forest products. So I hit that link, and it took me to another containernews.com article talking about a company, I hope I got this right, Centersource. And I had never heard of this company before, and I started reading about it, and they're talking about how they're going to streamline and automate pretty much the lumber industry and the distribution of lumber. And they're going to make it easy. And I thought, well, yeah, this port really kind of shows the sign of that. You just haul the logs there. You can either ship the logs, you can ship lumber, you can ship panels, you can, everything is right there. And then it talks about tokenizing. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Not tokenizing, I'm sorry, digitizing the process. And I thought to myself, well, digitizing, this sounds like you guys are going to tokenize this lumber. And then I realized, I think that's exactly what's happening. This Centersource is a new company, just launched. And now even their YouTube channel, I went and took a look at it. It's only a few days old. Like, I think the most recent video was like within the last week or so, 2 weeks. They have like 1 subscriber, me, and like maybe 9 views on their most popular videos. So they are not being viewed right now, but yet I believe that this company, or whoever they are, really has an idea about streamlining the entire process. And if you can, distribute lumber cheaper than anybody else, guess what? You're going to have, the biggest business. And I could really see that happening, especially in the conditions that they have this Puerto Rico in. Anyway, I thought that was a very interesting article. I wish I could tell you guys my opinion on why the lumber prices are going up so high. I can only assume that the retail prices are going to be going up here anytime now. If you have a chance to buy retail at this price, it's probably not a bad idea. Even though at $5 for a 2x4 and $30 for a half-inch sheet of CDX is unreal. I think, would I buy it at this price? And I wouldn't. But I just don't see the prices going cheaper on account of the futures going up. Anyway, I will leave links down in the description for you guys. I would love to get you guys' opinion on that Centersource company and what they're up to, if they're even legit. So anyway, Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know.